You're listening to Systemic Error Podcast. The failure was designed.
Trump sets up showdown with Supreme Court over issue it already decided, based on an article by Sarah K. Burris. Trump is not testing the Constitution. He is testing whether defiance has consequences. The power is in the White House. Donald Trump is not wandering into a legal dispute. He is using executive power to reopen a question the Supreme Court already answered at the end of June, when it ruled his prior birthright-citizenship order unconstitutional. He then returned with new executive orders, standing beside Stephen Miller, and dared the courts to stop him again. That is the political fact at the center of this story. The president is using the machinery of the presidency to pressure the Constitution itself. The point is not legal precision. The source frames this as a renewed attempt to eliminate birthright citizenship, and that is exactly what it is. One part targets so-called birth tourism. Another broadens a narrow exception for children of foreign sovereigns into a much wider category that could sweep in children of foreign government employees or government organizations. Another stretch tries to convert vague anti-immigrant panic into constitutional doctrine by invoking alleged ties to groups like Tren de Aragua. This is not careful governance. It is a hostile rewrite of citizenship by executive fiat. The blame should stay where the power is. Rubin's warning matters because it identifies the tactic correctly. Act first. Force the courts to react. Then claim the spectacle as proof of seriousness. That is not confusion. It is deliberate escalation. The administration knows the legal terrain is weak. It also knows that constant repetition can manufacture the appearance of legitimacy for ideas that lose in court. The goal is not merely to win. The goal is to normalize contempt for the limits that already exist. The real target is immigrants, especially brown immigrants. The story is careful to note what the expanded exceptions would actually do in practice. They would not function as neutral legal refinements. They would become another weapon against immigrants, particularly from Latino countries in South America, exactly the group the administration wants to cast as suspect before any individual case is even considered. That is the pattern. Convert a constitutional guarantee into a discretionary privilege, then dress the attack in legal language so the cruelty sounds administrative. Courts are not the only battleground. Corey Brechnader's point cuts through the performance. The administration is not just challenging a ruling, it is challenging the Constitution's meaning. The issue is not whether the White House can find a clever phrase. The issue is whether executive power can keep trying until repetition blurs the line between law and force. That is why this fight matters beyond one order. Birthright citizenship is being treated as if it were a nuisance clause waiting to be overridden by enough aggression and enough nationalist propaganda. The pattern is authoritarian drift by executive routine. This is the broader lesson. Trump does not need to win every case to damage the system. He only needs to keep issuing orders that test whether institutions will defend their own boundaries or absorb the violation as routine. When a president uses executive power to attack citizenship itself after losing in court, the story is not about legal creativity. It is about a government learning how to weaponize repetition, resentment, and procedural overload against the democratic idea that birth in this country creates equal membership in it. You've been listening to Systemic Care. Thanks to Alternet for today's article, with the automated voice of Joe. Thanks for listening.